Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another episode of CasualCraft. I'm your host RedRipz, and here today on Belshire Vestige, as I like to say, I'm not going to say vestige for fear of being castrated by a friend of mine. We've got in the top left-hand corner of the map the green Terran player, Blackmaster, who is as green comes. Let's hope his play isn't quite as green as his colour. And the bottom right-hand corner of the map we have the red Protoss player, AiurForceOne, with his clever pun name here, clever pun name, let's go. Now, they're actually in the same clan, so I imagine they're good mates, which probably explains why this isn't a ladder game, since they're not using the traditional ladder colours. And I'm led to believe it's a pretty good game, so let's hope there's nothing too ridiculous set up, and we'll go with it from there, yeah? So, here we are. Should I place... I have no idea what this is. I guess it's some sort of internal clan match thing, but I'm happy to talk about it. It's all good. We'll go with it. Now, today was my last day at work for a week, well, just over a week, because I'm away this weekend on holiday to a music festival to get really drunk and watch music and other nefarious things, and that's going to be very fun, all very nice. But I'm going to be taking a week off CasualCraft as a result. Well, not an entire week. I'll try and get some content up tomorrow before I go, and then hopefully get something up on the following Monday, which is only be a couple of days missing, maybe 3 if I include the following Monday, because I won't get back till Monday, so I'm going to be in absolute state that day. So I'll have to wait and see what happens there, and we'll go with it from there. Now, meanwhile, here in AiurForceOne's base, we're having a straight away at the front on a gateway down in the simulator, all the usual crack. This is a Masters game, so I'd expect the builds to be pretty strong here. It's, you know, they know the game well enough now to be able to actually, you know, execute things with at least some manner of consistency and play and skill level and all that kind of thing, or at least they'll be executing a lot better than I'm executing this cast right now, I'm sure. Now, we've got a barracks down at the front of the base here for Blackmaster, as he continues to build his SCVs. I imagine he'll be going for his orbital command in a second, just as that finishes up. There we are. Right on time. Beautiful, beautiful. As the gateway finishes up here in AiurForceOne's base, seeing a Cybernex core down now, and Blackmaster will be scouting this out straight away here to see exactly what's going on. We're also getting a second assimilator out here out of AiurForceOne, so I imagine we'll be seeing some early tech, or lots of early stalkers, or something like that. Basically anything to take advantage of the early double assimilator, because normally you don't really need this quite as early as this, unless you've got something cheeky up your sleeve, which obviously Blackmaster will be scouting for. He'll be having a good look around, see if he can find what on earth AiurForceOne is up to here in this game here. Now, Belshire Vestige is a pretty good map for a number of reasons. I quite like the way it's laid out. The fact that you've got this kind of area down the middle that's blocked off there, so which means you've got two sort of main routes up the side of the map, here and here, as you can see. So as a result, you often end up with armies being split and completely missing each other and stuff, which makes some really interesting plays, I think. I mean, I don't know whether that qualifies it as a good map particularly, but it's certainly something I enjoy watching. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, both players have a second base down. We're actually seeing our friend Blackmaster here take this on the low ground, so he's obviously pretty sure that he's fairly safe at the moment. I mean, he is watching his opponent get down a nexus here in his own second base, and he's just generally watching, you know, the militia core and things come out. So he knows there's nothing too ridiculous too early. However, I'd expect something cool and interesting out early here, especially with this early assimilator. Now, meanwhile, of course, in Blackmaster's base, we're getting the 3 racks out here, the usual sort of crack. This is very, very standardy stuff now if you're going into bio, really. I mean, we're not really expecting to see anything other than bio here at this point now that he's gone for the 3 racks, unless he's just going to be churning out a bunch of... I'm trying to think of what could possibly need 3 racks if you weren't going bio, but maybe my builds aren't well known enough, but it seems a bit silly, really. I'm going to apologise for whatever the hell this is. They do some sort of clan statement-y thing, but we have seen the robotics facility down now out of AiurForceOne, so we'll be seeing some sort of Immortals or probably Colossus or something like that out of him here. Either that or he's just rushing out mass observers because he wants to see the whole map, all these beautiful things. Now, Blackmaster's actually taking an interesting third here. Now, I thought he'd have gone up for this base down here at the top end, as far away from his opponent as possible. But he's actually taking a slightly further forward base here, which might be easier for him to defend, actually. If we just look at this, now, there's the 2 ramps here and here to get into this base. But obviously his army just needs to dance between here, where his second is, and over here at the front to defend these 2. Whereas, I guess if he was up here, the army would need to be covering up down here, and you've got obviously watch for in here, and then stuff can come in the middle, and all this kind of thing. So I guess from a Terran perspective, that might be pretty good, because they don't get the advantage of creep to move their troops around really quickly, and you've got to sort of keep your units more balled up, whereas Zerg would tend to stretch out around the edge of the map much more. Now, we are seeing the Scout Stalker of AiurForceOne being pulled away here. He's not really going to be doing too much of that there. He's having a little bit of a look around, seeing what's going on, having a little poking at these few Marines. Now, we should know that there's a good few racks down there to have this many Marines coming out so quickly. Either that or I'm not sure if he's actually scouted that himself there. Let's just have a little cheeky look. No, he's not seen anything in the main base of Blackmaster at all. Not even the expansion, actually. All he's seen is the NG bay at the front. So he's really very much in the dark here at this stage as to what Blackmaster's doing. I think the Stalker, he should get away there. He's a little bit faster than the Marines, so he should be able to walk off there. And with the aid of the Mothership Core, this should be, well, there shouldn't really be too much pressure out the front of this now, especially with the second Stalker and behind that. So yeah, out of Air Force One now, we're seeing a really fast Colossus coming out here, and this has actually been chrono boosted out here. So he's actually straight up rushing Colossus here, it seems. Now, I guess you could stick them behind a bunch of sentries and use the force fields and keep stuff behind that way rather than relying on a normal ground army. That's so much more sort of way you play against Zerg more than anything, really. Or I guess you could go for a drop, but you'd probably want to be building the Warp Prism immediately after this this comes out here. Now let's have a little look here. And yeah, we're actually getting the Warp Prism movement speed upgrade, so we are going to be seeing a drop here today out of Air Force One. So I'd imagine the Colossus will be going in there. Either that or he's going to get some sort of maybe 4-gate pressure in there or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. He will be taking out the bricks at the bottom of his ramp there. This is more of a convenience than anything else, really. Not really much going on at the moment, as Blackmaster is just going to be gathering up his army here now in front of the things. Now, he's actually miles ahead on his economy at this stage, Blackmaster, because he's got the third base down and he's just generally just gone macro, macro, macro. He's quite a risky build, really. I mean, he's got a bunch of Marines out the front, but considering he's on 3 bases, that's not really that hard now. I mean, he's getting the factory down behind that. We're seeing Starport, another barracks, and a 5th barracks coming down there. All very good now as Stim finishes up here. So, yeah, we're seeing a very typical bio play coming out of Blackmaster here. Nothing out of the ordinary. I would quite like to see a second engineering bay down, which I think is that right. Well, that is. Yep, there's a second engineering bay coming down, so that's really good news there for Blackmaster. We'll be getting the bio upgrades on very quickly, I'd imagine, once these both finish up. And we could, well, you don't really need that much gas actually for bio, since you'd be churning out Marines. As long as you've got a few Marauders in there and you've got your upgrades coming on, it's usually pretty good. At least until you start getting the, well, double Medivacs, I'd imagine we'll be seeing out of this by the looks of it. So we're getting the Reactor there, we've got the Starport ready. I think this factory will be taking off and we're getting the Starport in there to churn out Medivacs, and I guess another Starport for additional air support there as well. So that's all very nice. Now, meanwhile, we've seen the Colossus actually drop in on the third base here of Air Force One. I completely missed that coming across the map there. They're quite an important little play. I love the way they disappear when they get picked up and dropped and stuff. It's actually really, really entertaining there. But I'm not sure that there's actually many workers lost there. There's 4 workers killed there for Air Force One, so that's not bad at all. Not bad at all. I mean, perhaps not entirely worth the entire Colossus rush, but he's definitely doing damage and causing a whole bunch of trouble here for Blackmaster, who's having to bring his army up the top now as he will be just lifting this up, and imagine. Yep, there we are, and this should be running away now to escape these Stim Marines here, who basically just ate into a big chunk of their health. Weren't managed to catch up with anything extra there. Meanwhile, I've got a Scout Marine at the bottom here for Blackmaster here. He's going to be checking out Air Force One's third base as it comes down here. So he knows exactly where his opponent's at. There's another Marine over on this side checking out this base as well. We're also seeing mass Vikings pumped out here now. I quite like that. And actually, he's just reactoring out the Vikings as well. So we're just going to get a lot of Vikings out to deal with these Colossi by the looks of it. No need for Medivacs quite yet, says Blackmaster here in this TVP game, which is actually turned out to be pretty good here, as we're seeing the Warp Prism come in again with its Colossus here now. This should be going at the second base. And we'll have to wait and see what damage Air Force One here can do. There's really nothing here at the moment, so we should be able to get some SCVs down here pretty quickly if we just watch what happens here. Just take a big swig for me coffee here. And as long as we keep the micro up on this, Air Force One should be relatively safe. He should be able to escape the Vikings with his Warp Prisms. I think it's faster than them. Yeah, they're accelerating away nicely. So that's all very nice there, yeah. So Air Force One will be surviving that. I don't think we took down too many SCVs. 7 SCVs killed now, so that's pretty good, especially as Terran does really lose out the most, I think, to SCVs killed, as they can't actually really do anything much in the way of like, they can't speed them up building again. I mean, yeah, they've got mules, but they can't just churn out another 20 drones like Zerg can, or like chrono boost everything out of all 3 bases or whatever like the Protoss can. They really do have to sit and build them all one at a time again. It's a bit of a frustration, really, for Terran players, I feel. But, well, they've got OP mules, so it's all good. OP is now a part of the official canon, can I just say, of the name of the mule, because the mule obviously is an acronym, MULE. And OP is now officially the beginning of that, according to every Zerg player ever. So that's all good. Now we've actually seen the missile towers come down here, so they will be defending this quite nicely here, as they can actually shoot up as the Colossus as well. Which is actually something I always forget about. The missile towers can shoot up at Colossus. I mean, it's probably because I'm main Zerg really and don't worry too much about that sort of thing. But yeah, no, so that's quite nice. However, it isn't really going to stop that much, as there isn't really anything in the mineral line itself. And Blackmaster is forced to pull all his SCVs again, and obviously before his army can even turn up there, the Colossus drop has long since gone. Meanwhile, he's getting a little force of Zealots at the front here. We've got another Colossus out. We've got a few Stalkers down with some sentry support there as well. All very, very nice. We see more pylons coming down, loads of supply here, and a Dark Shrine at the front here for AiurForceOne as his ground weapons 1 upgrade will be finishing. He's also getting charged as well. So it looks like they're going for a lot of auto-attacky sort of, like, not auto-attack, but like close combat units, like the Zealots and the Zealots and the Dark Templars and that sort of thing. Looks like looking to be the mainstay of AiurForceOne's force here. As once again he comes back with his Colossus drop, which I've been quite enjoying this. It's been surprisingly effective. He's got 13 kills, and it's mostly just out of sheer persistency. Because if you just keep dropping it and picking it up again, these the Vikings can't always catch it unless you do something like that and just totally outflank them. That was a nice catch there by Blackmaster. I really like what he did there with that, because that was not really. It was the amount of effort that he was having to expend pulling away his SCVs and bringing his army over every time and just missing it every single time. To put the army down the bottom this time instead, much stronger move, as the Colossus just ran straight into it now. And we're seeing more Colossi coming out there of the robotics facility there, such as this one here. There we are, and 3 more gateways coming down at the top. So it looks like AiurForceOne will be gearing up to just churn out a shit ton more troops and get into combat now, as another wave of Dark Templars will be coming in behind this. So all very nice, very tasty stuff. We're seeing the Archons come in here for this. So yeah, it looks like we'll be going the usual sort of anti-bio type force, where you get a big chunk of units to take the damage, which is the Zealots. You've then got the Archons and the Colossi on top of that dealing AoE damage, which can basically blow everything else up. It's all very nice. Now, as Blackmaster, we're moving out with the main of his force here now. We've got loads of Medivacs, got loads of Vikings on top to help with the Colossi here. This is all really nice, and these should be stewing at this base and pretty much taking down his Nexus before AiurForceOne can even really do very much. His army is starting to move over, but the sheer amount of Marauders there is going to go straight through that base, and there's not really very much that AiurForceOne could have done about that. We're so quick, Blackmaster, on the attack there, as the Colossi really do strain to keep up, even with the thermal lance upgrade, where they can shoot for a much longer range. They're not quite going to be getting that. So with the Zealots just picking off the last few of the Marauders at the back here, as they are able to obviously charge and catch up with that, and there isn't really enough Medivacs here to keep them alive. So it looks like we're getting a proper engagement here out of both players here, as Blackmaster is going to be losing quite a lot of troops here to the Colossi, although it looks like the Colossi will be falling relatively quickly to the Vikings themselves as well, and actually it's the Archons, to be honest, is going through most of the stuff now at this stage with just their sheer volume of AoE abilities. It's really strong here for AiurForceOne against Bio, and it's a real shame really, because like this composition is just, I keep seeing this a lot now, Archons and Colossus just against Bio. It just works so well because there's just so many units in such a small space. They can just get so much AoE down. It's really quite sickening to watch for Terran players, I can imagine, as Blackmaster is struggling to cope here at the front, having lost his, well, he didn't lose the base, sorry, he had to float it off, but lost a whole load of mining time there on his 4th base now, as AiurForceOne is actually going to be putting down his own 4th base here as well. He's going to be pulling his troops back to his own there, as we've got a little DT just wandering around causing trouble here at the 3rd base of Blackmaster here, along the top edge of the map. It's wasted a scan. I mean, it's not really a waste, but it's, it's unfortunate he has to use them just to get rid of single DTs, but, not much you can do until you've got further vision. Now, so it looks like we've seen some high Templars coming out here, as we're seeing a Storm upgrade come down out of AiurForceOne. Again, this is all really good stuff for the AoE effects of just the sheer amount of AoE you can get down on biological units. It's really great against Bio, just because it strangles so much. So, to be honest, out of Blackmaster, I'd quite like to see him making some sort of tech switch, perhaps into like maybe a bit of map, maybe get a few tanks of his own down or something. I mean, to be honest, because like while he's got a whole bunch of Vikings out that are effectively dealing with Colossi pretty nicely, just the Archons and stuff on the floor is causing so much bother for the player that he's really going to be struggling against that sort of thing if he has to engage in a similar attack again. Meanwhile, he will be sending a drop at the back of the main base here, with 3 Marauders in at the front here of AiurForceOne. Now, the mainstay of AiurForceOne's army will actually be moving out initially towards the 4th base there, and now having turned around and come back to the main base, as he has actually spotted this huge drop coming in here with 2 Medivacs and a whole bunch of Marauders down now. We've got Vikings here as well, as the DTs are going to be coming in and get eaten up pretty much straight away there, as everything does sort of take off and get the hell out of there. And I think he actually dropped a Viking there among that. I didn't realise that was one of the yeah, he's got the Viking loaded in the Medivac there alongside the Marauders there. I didn't realise, I just assumed he'd flown his own way over, but apparently that's not the case now, as we're seeing another robotics facility come out for AiurForceOne. This means he'll be able to double churn out these Colossi, and it looks like he'd really be just sticking up the number of Colossi that he's got, going for the massive AoE composition, which is exactly what you need against Bio. And if Blackmaster refuses to switch into some more sort of tanky, more maybe with some Thors or something like that, it is going to be a real difficulty for him to deal with this if AiurForceOne can get his army maxed out and get a good engagement out of him. However, at this point, Blackmaster is ahead on supply, and he's able to engage slightly there, and I don't think he didn't quite take out the Colossus there, down to 139 health, which is a damn good move, to be honest, because you really need to take those things down as quick as possible. So the fact that he managed to get some shots off on that before the battle really started was really, really nice here, as both players will be moving in and forward here. Now if we just have a little look, it's not the APM to have them after. We'll see the engagement here as both players come up. We've got the great big storms, beautiful storms on top of the Terran army there, as most of them will be falling, and it just shows exactly how weak Bio is to this sort of composition. There's the 2 storms down and the whole army has to pull back because it's just not going to withstand the sheer number of zealots, and obviously the Colossi, despite it being on so little health here, has managed to survive. Let's see if these Vikings are going to bother taking it out there. It take a single shot, but we're actually just going to all fall here, and everything's really falling apart here for Blackmaster here now, as AiurForceOne's just going to be pushing in the middle of his natural here with this massive army of Archons and everything just ripping through all this bio. It's really, really atrocious here for Blackmaster, and I'm really interested in what he's going to do here. Actually, those AiurForceOne is actually starting to lose some Colossi now. He did lose a High Templar there, although he's actually going to be getting the storm down there on top of that bio and taking out some more of it, which is obviously very nice. Now we'll be seeing the last of these High Templars being cleared up here by these Marauders here now, as AiurForceOne will be moving the extra base here of Blackmaster here, and Blackmaster's supply is falling. Really struggling here, it seems to be, for this guy here. Now if we're just going to have a quick look at the army supply tab here, now we can see that actually AiurForceOne is miles and miles ahead in all aspects of this game here at this point. I mean, yeah, obviously he was before, but I just was interested to see what the army was like after that. Now he's actually got an army that's 3 times the size in supply at this stage of Blackmaster, and all the troops of AiurForceOne are actually strong against Blackmaster's troops here, except maybe the Marauders. The Marauders are okay against this sort of thing, but still not really ideal, all things considered. So yeah, it's looking really bad here for Blackmaster. I'm not really sure what he's actually going to be able to do to get out of this at this point. I mean, he doesn't even have a 3rd base up. I mean, it's there, but it's barely mining. And even AiurForceOne's army is going to be pulling round into this now. So we're going to be seeing some more engagements here out of these players pretty soon, I'd imagine, as AiurForceOne will be looking to capitalise on this advantage that he's gained out the fact that he's now got 4 bases. Only 3 mining, of course, as his main's mined out, and I think his second's going pretty quickly. It does look like now, though, AiurForceOne will be moving into this remaining 3rd base of Blackmaster here, and this will be falling straight away. There's absolutely nothing Blackmaster can do here. Even a lift off wouldn't save this base against the Archons, as the last of that will be falling here. Now, really, at this point, we're really just waiting for AiurForceOne to go into the final engagement, to be honest, as these extractors will be cleared out, and we'll be seeing the doom drop coming here out of Blackmaster here as he goes for a very all-or-nothing approach here. All the Medivacs moving out here with everything he's got in it. He ain't going to go and try and defend this natural anymore. He's going to be pulling back here. As we've actually got a little drop here in the bottom base here of AiurForceOne. This will be doing a whole bunch of damage here, as we haven't seen some zealots being warped in to try and deal with this. Unfortunately, the Medivac didn't fall there, though, as the massive army of AiurForceOne will be pulling back and dealing with this now, and it also should be coming to try and help clean up this huge drop in the 4th base here of AiurForceOne here. But it's we're looking like everything's going to be cleared up there, as the last of that little drop in the natural. The natural's not completely cleared up. Sorry, the last of the drop in the 3rd there is cleared up. The natural is now going to be cleared up by this Colossus, who will be just finishing up the last of that, and it looks like the main drop will be moving into the main base of Blackmaster here, so in the main base of AiurForceOne here. So with the help of Air on his side, we're going to need to see some more stuff out of AiurForceOne here. Blackmaster is actually completely able to take them down the main base there, although with such a dwindling army force, and this being pretty much the last of his forces at this point, both players are suffering a pretty hard reset here. If we have a look now, absolutely no worker supply whatsoever there for Blackmaster, and well, with a double the size army there for AiurForceOne, it's looking pretty grim here for Blackmaster now, as he's completely given up mining. He's pulling out the last of his troops here to try and defend at the front here, but I really don't see what much he can do once these troops fall. He's just got nothing much left. He doesn't even quite have enough left for another SCV, so he's going to have to wait until he can get the mules down once again. And yep, this drop will be coming in once again, as the army of AiurForceOne's forced to dance backward and forward between the main and his 4th base there. And it's just generally being an absolute pain in the arse here for AiurForceOne. There's the usual sort of tear and crack here as the Marines do stim. They'll be taking down odds and sods here and there, but they're going to have to pull out pretty soon, as the Colossi will be turning up to try and clear this up. And once again, the Medivac boost will be able to get them out of there completely safely. Very nice now. So we're seeing a massive Marauder force move down the map here for Blackmaster here, pretty much the last of his troops. He's gathering odds and sods, I think. No, nothing much there. He's just flying his base down to the 3rd, so he's going to have to sit and try and defend that. Meanwhile, this drop will be getting taken out here, as it's been sat down there to try and heal up, and yeah, most of it fell there. He's got a couple of Medivacs with a few troops in, but really not that much here. This extra Marauder force will be coming down to the bottom base here, though, of AiurForceOne, and these will be taking out most of the rest of these Archons there, as they do. The High Templar do try and merge up to make Archons, but the Archons will be falling way too quickly for them to actually finish forming, which is a real shame there for Air Force. I thought you could have added some additional Archons there, would have been really useful, as once again this Zealot army is left trailing behind this little force of Blackmasters here, that's just causing so much trouble here for AiurForceOne. I mean, I don't see how Blackmaster can hope to win the game, but with AiurForceOne just sort of stomping over him like this, it's pretty bad. And there we are, GG to both players there. That's that was quite a lot of fun, as he says. Down to absolutely zero supply now, but still hasn't actually left the game yet. With a DT here in the third base of Blackmaster here, it's looking very much over, as the army will be moving up now for AiurForceOne. So yeah, that was a pretty cool little game there. After the Colossus drop at the start, which was very sort of pokey, the number of SCVs that Blackmaster lost to that must have just brought him behind just the right sort of amount to allow AiurForceOne to get that really good composition of like AoE units out. So the Colossus, the Archons, the High Templar with their Storm, all those units you need to deal with the Bioforce effectively. And unless Blackmaster had sat and split all his units up into individual troops right at the start, he was going to really struggle to deal with anything like that. So I would have liked to have seen some sort of mech switch there out of him, really. But perhaps, I guess at this point in the game, it's quite difficult to move into, really. I mean, he did have his armory out now, which was actually, I think, doesn't seem to have got all the upgrades there. So to be honest, he could have probably moved into a bit more of a mech composition, but he didn't bother, wasn't having it. He was quite happy playing his bio and seeing if he could make it work against this, when it just, right now, it just isn't in this game. You can't really do that. Unless you can get some really, really great engagements and really get the drops in the right places and force. I mean, essentially, you have to keep the Protoss player in his base by continually dropping and pulling out every time his units turn up, and just keeping his army at the back. And then as soon as he tries to move out, keep dropping him. And then if he continues moving out, obviously you can stick everything in the medivacs and blast back across the map to come and get a nice big sort of engagement on if you need to. I mean, the problem is you can't engage these huge Protoss death balls directly. Otherwise, as we saw here, the whole army just falls apart as you just get all your troops balled up in a little gap, and all the AoE just comes down on top of them. And it's really, really not so fun for the Terran player there. This kills the Terran, as some might say. Now, well, yeah, thanks once again for watching. It's been another good game. I'm gradually getting to grips with the general sort of crack with Terrans now, although I'm a little bit, would like to see more mech, really, although it's generally everyone seems to think that mech's underpowered, especially against like Zerg and stuff. But I think it's pretty viable against Protoss. You've just got to be really careful, and obviously it's a bit risky, but then Bio is really risky unless you get your splits right. So it's a difficult matchup at the moment, beating Protoss as Terran. But yeah, one of those things. Protoss strong race. Good units. So yeah, well, thanks once again for watching, and hopefully I'll have more content tomorrow morning, but if not, I'll be back next week for another CasualCraft. It's been great fun so far, and I think this is episode 19 now, I'm tempted to say, but not 100% sure, so we'll just go with it. It's fine. Cool. Well, thanks once again for watching. Thanks again, like, comment, subscribe, all the usual banter. GG to both players. Thank you.